Hello, greetings and salutations. Welcome back to the BFC. How you guys doing today? Let's see who is joining us right now in the chat. Dwayne, OTC Forever. We have Jord Hugga, Michael. Nice to see you guys. Yes, Jord, how are you doing? General VenomX, how you doing too? So we're gonna get into the conversation with Brett and Sam, but I just want to give you guys some basic updates because I'm really enjoying doing this whole live thing, and it's fun, and like I really want you guys to take advantage of the Sunballer. What is up? I am not drinking the coffee today. I had too much coffee early, but I am compensating for a nice IPA out of my 2021 World Series Atlanta Braves pint glass, which I like it, So don't kill me if you're not a Braves fan, but one of my favorite glasses. Shout out to John for getting me that really awesome Christmas gift he got me. Power Rush Tactical Reviews. You've been here since day one. A lot of you have. Donald, welcome to the program. So, Pat, all you guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. So, this has been much anticipated. I want to get into it with Brett and Sam. I do want to do a quick update on a couple stocks before I get into it with them. And we're going to talk about some things, and make sure you put questions and comments in the comments section, and anything that you want them to answer. If they could answer it, I'm sure they'd be happy to do so. So a little quick update. I did pass the real estate test. So yay, I am a real estate agent. And let me tell you, it was very nerve-wracking waiting for that damn test result to come in. You'd think that it would be a little bit faster than that, but whatever. So on to the next chapter, and we're going to see how I do. I'm going to give myself 12 months to really see how I progress in it, and what happened, in regards to that. So I'll keep you guys posted. I'll definitely keep you posted. So if you haven't, hit the subscribe button, turn on the alerts, because I'm going to have more interviews like I'm about to have in the next 10 minutes. So listen, check the Patreon. If you haven't followed me on Twitter, give me a follow on Twitter. Let's get right into it. I want to talk about a couple things that, are bothering some people, especially in regards to IGPK. So, this was a tweet right here. We are working diligently behind the scenes and moving our business plan forward. We will continue to deliver valuable news and updates after the auditors complete their financials, which is our number one priority, including a major daily production update from Houdini. All right, that's great. But we want to remember, this is how things can go south very, very quick. All right, because they were pushing 003, and now they've retraced all the way to 12. Still within the room of growth. We'll see what happens and see how investors respond to this. But this just goes to show you what can happen if you are behind in your filings. So I hope to have Gene on the show on Sunday if that audited filing is done, and if that filing is uploaded or whatever to the OTCM. But the thing is, there's a lot of questions, especially regarding that 203.5 million share cancellation that apparently isn't being canceled now. And I'm not sure if that is a thing that was initiated by Gene or the other guy. What's his name? Matt Dwyer. Dwyer is who I'm referring to. So let me know what you think about that. I'm still in this one. I have 1 million shares of it. I plan on holding it long. They plan on hitting a price target of 2 cents. So hopefully that filing gets done and we can move on. Another one I'm looking at, CGRA. This is their latest per communication with OTCM. We expect OTCIQ access any day now. Following our filing, we have very exciting announcements and new developments. We continue to work hard behind the scenes to deliver maximum shareholder value. And if you haven't, check out their first acquisition, Savage Barbell. Check out their website. And you know what? Hey, Nick, if you're listening, get the extra larges. Come on, man. I want to try one of those. I'm a 44. I'm right in there, and I want that extra large. So, yeah, the shirt, I love it. And you know what? A certain someone shrunk it. Tried to shrink it in the dryer, but it didn't shrink. And that is a very good quality in a shirt. Yes, it survived the dryer. So, all right. And one of my lotto plays here, kegs. Why did I invest in this? Well, you can just see the share structure is pretty large, but you know what? As a low market cap, and I like beer, whatever. 1812 Brewing Company. It's local. It's 3 hours away. So I figured, what the hell? Why not? I got in 7 million shares at 0001. So we're going to see if this thing could go for a ride this year. This is my 2023 lotto play. So, and I may try to swoop up a little bit more at 0001 because they're pink current. They are a legitimate company, and we're going to see what they have in store. So we're just waiting on to see what happens in regards to that basically filing in Canada to sell their beer in Canada and products in Canada. So let's look at their recent. This was today earlier, 1812 Brewing Company. Kegs recently launched Thousand Islands IPA, wins the bronze medal at the prestigious 2023 New York International Beer Competition. Yeah, so this is just a fun play for me. And yes, we did discuss a coffee play. I said to put it down there, and you guys told me. GHAV. I don't know what the price is at right now, but it's on my watch list. And one other stock I want to mention, this one was brought to me by Lisa Matthews, is DVLP. I started covering this one in the mid threes, and they're sitting at 0053. And I feel that there are a lot of people that have time to get into this, because if this company is as good as they say it is, it's going to nickels and dimes. All right. So, they have 4 acquisitions in the works that have last year, according to their PR, 100 million combined revenue. So there's no reason why this thing should be sitting where it's at. And so, they have no nonsense, no debt, very limited debt. I think it's in the tens of thousands. So there is an interview with Stravos, and I'll try to put that in the link in the updated video, but you can find it on Twitter. If you go to Mr. Hobbs, if you go to his Twitter page, he's the gentleman that interviewed him. So it's a good interview. Check it out. And so that's my updates right there. And so, yeah, that's it. That's all I got in regards to just some quick updates that you were looking into. So let's get that thing out of here. Now that we got that out of the way, I know what you've all been waiting for. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Brett Rosen and Sam Aker. Gentlemen, welcome to Buffalo Fireside Chats. How you doing?
Doing great.
It's good to be back.
All right. It's nice to have you guys on. And, I just recently sat down with Sam Aker, and you know what? He made my mind spin a little bit, when for I think it took a whole solid hour. We went through a 10K, and you showed some really awesome things, man. So thanks for taking the time to do that. And I'm not forgetting to break that video up into smaller chunks, so that way people's heads don't spin too much. And so thank you for coming on and doing that.
Oh yeah, no problem. I had a ton of fun doing that. And yeah, sorry guys, it's like an hour long, so hopefully you can suffer through it. But I think it was pretty good. So highly recommend watching.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say I'm going to put the link in the description because to his YouTube channel, because Sam recently launched a YouTube channel, Sam Aker Finance. So please subscribe to his YouTube channel. Do it. It'll be worth it. Brett, great to have you on. Last time I talked to you, I saw you at the annual shareholder meeting, the Ilis shareholder meeting.
Yeah, I remember.
That was fun.
It was a good event. It was very good. A lot of people there. It was pretty organized. I liked it.
Yeah, it was great meeting you. And it's really good to get. And I know you guys probably feel the same way when you get to a shareholder meeting and you actually get to meet management one-on-one and you get to see the presentations live. It totally changes the the experience of why you're investing, and it may convince you to either invest more or less. You know what I mean? So in their case, it obviously, in yours too, it convinced you to invest more.
It's true. It's funny because usually like shareholder meetings are like, to me, it's like a play. It's amazing because like usually like they just email over their PowerPoint deck and I just I have to like click through it myself. I'm like I can't do any more PowerPoint. I think at one point I removed it off my computer so it wouldn't even open them up.
Oh man. So let me ask you, just out of curiosity, how did you get involved in financing and funding companies? Like, what was your aha moment where you're like, this is a project I'm going to take on, and this is how I'm going to really build this part of my portfolio?
I guess it was I moved from Buffalo to San Diego in 2006 in October, and I got a job at this small financial firm, I guess we'll call it. That's like a nice way to put it, probably. There wasn't exactly the best place. And they were doing some sort of like investments and so with the OTC markets, like they were doing it was called pinksheets.com back in the day. It wasn't even called OTC markets, So they were doing a bunch of that stuff. And then I don't know, I saw like if they were doing what they actually promised, it was a great thing. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, as everyone knows in the OTC markets, a lot of promises get made and like things never actually happen. So that was kind of like where it went with them. I mean,
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, some companies put out that tweet, "It's coming," or "Wait for it," and then 7 months go by,
or a year, 2 years go by. Trust me, I have companies I invested in years ago. I'm still waiting for it. Like I've never even sold a share of their stock. I've never taken any money back. It's like, because you believe the story the same way. I mean, look, I'm not some genius. I believe the story the same way everybody else does. I've lost tons of money on believing these guys. And remember, it's more for me even, and I don't mean more money. I mean, it's I sit down and talk to these people. Like I have a meal with them. I shake their hand. I look them face to face. I mean, you guys are just going off information you're finding on the internet or like, whatever, like, press releases and whatever. But I mean, this is like, I'm being fooled in real life. I'm the really dumb one, I guess. Like,
yeah. What can you tell us what is your worst investment or return on investment that you ever made or received? And what was the lesson to be learned there? I mean, I'm sure we all have many times we've gotten burned.
I'll tell you a good one. So I had the company. I think if it's still on the exchange now, it would be ZNGY, Zenergy something. It was like I don't even know. I'm not sure if it's even still on the exchange. So I got them. I loaned them. I think it was 1.1 million altogether, or like invested in promissory note. Simultaneously, all at the same time, they took out like $2 million in other notes from every toxic lender that exists. But now remember, me doing due diligence, I couldn't know this unless they told me, because I wouldn't see this until the filings came out the next quarter. So the next quarter, the filings came out. They essentially filed bankruptcy. Okay. So after I went to bankruptcy court and everything, and not me personally, but like there was this whole trustee thing, this whole like process. So the way it played out, we got the verdict came back about 10 months ago that I think it's February of 2025, I get back $1,452.
Wow.
And that's from a judge. It's like embarrassing. It's super embarrassing. And this is a company that like, I flew to Dallas, Texas. I sat with this guy. We met with I saw all of his nonsense presentations, like the whole 9 yards. And then he was playing me the entire time because he knew he was taking out these loans and bankrupting the company while he was taking it from me. But all the other loans were like $100,000 here, $200,000 there. Mine was 1.1 million. So I'm like the sucker,
That is a very bad return on investment.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Hey, chat. By the way, it's a ZENG. If you want to go look it up, it has basically every single warning right now.
Good.
Got a CE, defunct, all that good stuff. So I'll have a read through that one.
Well, Sam, you're trying to change the atmosphere. I think we both are trying to change the atmosphere of the OTC, and you're doing that through your blog and through your newly launched YouTube channel. So would you say, like, do you see this changing with campaigns like yours and mine, just to try and like bring reputable companies, give them PR, authentic PR? They have that due diligence backing, like strong backing, because like Brett said, we don't get to meet them in person. So, how do you feel about that, doing what you're doing? And do you think it's going to have an impact?
Yeah, I think it's two things I'm really trying to do. Well, the first one is the way I sort of look at the companies, I'm trying to like give people like an intelligent discussion around like what a company is doing. It's not just like, woohoo, look at the chart. Like, it's what is the company doing? Like, what's their balance sheet? Just basic financial things like that. And I've noticed that people that I've talked to over the last like year or two are getting more financially savvy, which I think is a good thing for everybody, right? And then the second thing is, I'm really hoping that because people will get more financially savvy, that companies will get better with their financial reporting, because I think a lot of them get away with it because people just don't care, honestly. There's a lot of snakes out there, and people just, I don't know, pump and dump random stuff, and they don't really care. But I think if people get more, I don't know, well educated, even just at a basic level, and they can understand that like what they're seeing is complete nonsense or fake or whatever, that I think it just makes this a better community for everyone, and it helps the actual real companies operate on the OTC. Because right now, like the way I consider the OTC sort of like a landfill. Like it just stinks, and you might be able to find like good stuff in a landfill though, but because it's in a landfill, it stinks, right? And because there's so much garbage out there, and I'm hoping that I can like help people kind of shovel out a lot of the garbage and just let it die, and that good companies can rise a little more easily. So that's sort of my goal here.
Yeah, and you know what? And I think that ties into a question that I had for Brett in regards to, you're often equated by many personalities across stock twits and Twitterland and any other, stock forum. And the term that's associated with you often is toxic notes, toxic. That's all we hear. When your strategy actually helps clear companies of that toxic debt. So can you explain this to me like a 5-year-old, just so people can understand it as simply as possible what that strategy that you use actually does to help companies in general.
Like the thing about this is I'll answer that, but like the whole toxic lending thing, it's like a generalized term. Okay. And the reason why I get lumped into that is because like I am using convertible promissory notes. Like that's my method of like, for the most part, either that or buying preferred stock is my main method of investment in these companies. So people see all convertible notes as basically toxic to the company. You know, someone will see like, oh, you know, you got stock for a penny, you know, I'm like, okay, yeah, but I also have another $1 million note that's at 25 cents. Why don't you do the math and see what the actual average is? Like, do you know what I mean? And then, you know, it's just, I don't know. I mean, I guess, what was the original question you want to ask? What was the original one?
Basically about the term toxic debt and how you clear toxic debt for companies.
So how I clear it is two ways. Okay. One, if it's a considerable amount of money, like depending on what it is, I mean, I'll either pay it off directly, like meaning I buy the debt from them and then I become their debt holder, or I give the money. If it's like a smaller amount, like of debt, let's say the company owes a couple $100,000, but like if it's going to take off, this guy's going to come back and convert and ruin everything. So I'll just loan the company the money and they can pay the debt off themselves. In the case of me paying off like, you know, bigger amounts of debt, then I usually just come up with a fixed price conversion, convert it off at that price, and then the debt goes away all at one time. So therefore, so you take a debt like, say it was a 50% discount to market. It was $100,000. They had 10% interest, so it was a year old. I gave them $110,000. I converted it into whatever. The debt is gone off the books. So now the company no longer owes any money, but the company received money. I mean, like this would be like if like instead of like paying your credit card bill, Visa just sent you a check for $500,000. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's essentially like what I know it sounds nuts. But like I'm decreasing your debt and giving you new money. Now, yes, oftentimes it's I'm giving you more debt. Like so, like you might decrease 500,000 in debt, and then I might give you $1 million. So you went $500,000 deeper in debt. But that's like premium to market, like favorable debt. Like, I mean, like take Ilis, 25 cents. I mean, does anyone really care if I converted right now at 25 cents? Because they'd be like, yeah, go ahead and knock yourself out. You know, you're losing, 80% of your money, whatever it is, So.
And there's a question actually from General Venom, and he wanted me to ask basically like one of your successes. So I did ask about like one of your biggest mishaps or worst return on investment. What is one of your best success stories as an investor? That's what he would like to know.
I mean, like it was weird because 5 or 6 years ago, it was like the cannabis boom. Okay, like you guys don't know if you guys remember this. There was like the cannabis stocks. They went crazy. Like, I mean, there was like some guy in a garage. It was like Aerotine, from Wall Street. It was like some guy in a freaking garage, and like he makes vape cartridges, and all of a sudden it's like a multi-million-dollar company. Like, I mean, it was wild. So I had this one company. They're actually still on. They've pivoted. I actually still invest in them now, to be honest. And it's sub penny. You guys love that stuff. The symbol was GOHE. So it was like, it's not the symbol anymore. The symbol is now PSYC. It's they pivoted into psychedelics. They used to be a payment processor for marijuana companies. So like marijuana companies had no ability to take credit cards or debit cards or whatever. Like you had to walk in there with cash, or there was ATMs everywhere, all the dispensaries in California. So they went in there and figured out a way to legally do it where they weren't circumventing bank laws or whatever. So that stock went from like not trading at all, like literally like not trading at all. It was like sub penny, not trading at all. It went to like, I want to say like 16 cents, but it went from trading like $100 a day to trading like millions of dollars a day, like from out of nowhere. And like, so and they were a local San Diego company. So like Deborah and I had just formed RB Capital not that long ago. And we were, and I'm like, oh, let's just a local San Diego company. It's easy to meet with them. Let's just go talk to them. So we hunted them down and we did the deal. And like the stock used to be sub penny. So like we converted our stock and we got it at 0.001. And that's like what it was. I mean, then fluke luck, within 2 months, the stock's like 8 cents. It's trading like crazy. And we had like millions of shares. So it was like the ROI on that one was like monstrous.
Wow.
There's another one, which is on the NASDAQ right now. That would be EXPI, EXP Realty. It's like a multi-level marketing of realty. They were 27 cents in February of 2015. They were on the OTCQB. They traded around 30 to 80 grand a day. Let's just say that. That's a pretty big spread, but 30 to 80 grand a day. They went in 3.5 years. They went to the NASDAQ in September of 18, I think. So in that 3.5 year period, they went from 27 cents to $19 on the OTC markets. Wow. And they were trading like $50 million a day.
Wow.
So then what happened was they uplisted to the NASDAQ in September of 2018. And the stock was $19 when they listed. And that was already what the stock price was on the OTC markets. There was no reverse. There was no anything. Okay. All the idiots that invested it, like they bought the IPO stock, dumped their stock day one. Like it's what always happens on every IPO. And then it rebounds the next day. It's every single one is the same exact thing. So the stock goes down to 12 cents. Okay. From 12 cents within like a few months, it's $160. Seriously. So much so that like the sales reps from the company were complaining about the stock being too expensive, that they forward split the stock, not reverse, forward the other way. They made it's crazy. They made it so there's more shares at a cheaper price.
Yeah, and I'm going to get, because Sam, I had a question for you, but I did want to get to Jordan Hugga's question. How long do the shares return 8% yearly if not converted? How many years? That's his question.
I'm sorry, one more time.
I think he's referring to the new Ilis note. His question is,
how much interest?
Yeah. How long do the shares return? Not sure if you could see the chat on the side.
I have the private thing on. Sorry.
Yeah.
I see it. Yeah.
Okay, so they are asking you questions down here, so you could just have at it. How long do the shares return 8% yearly if not converted? How many years? That's the question.
Let me see. How long do the shares return 8% yearly? What is 8%? Well, where do you get 8%? I don't even know what you're talking about.
I don't know what he's.
Okay. So basically,
I'm having trouble gauging like how the question. I'm starring basically like just the question.
Oh, no worries. Okay, so like Fred, I think the interest rate on the Ilis notes was actually 5%, if that's what we're talking about. So let's just say it's $1 million. It accrues 5% interest a year, so that's $50,000 a year. That's it. And they're not paying me. Like I'm not getting a check every month for the interest. I mean, I wish, it just accrues on. And then they're 2-year notes, all of them. So like they don't go into default till it's at least 24 months. It's good for accounting purposes. It makes it look better on your books because your notes aren't in default. Essentially, it doesn't cost them anything. My belief is that like when the stock goes to close to or above like my conversion price, that's when I convert. In the meantime, I let it accrue that interest, but it's not harming the company, like meaning that the company isn't coming up with the money. Like it's not like, yes, it's on their books and it's like, but it doesn't cost them any dollars, like hard money.
I know there was concern that when it does hit that conversion, that the share price is going to bottom up and it's going to be all doom and gloom because you do own a hefty amount of Ilis shares at this point. Yeah. You can affect the share price.
100%. But I also understand like the fact of like how I know how to sell stock. Like, and I don't mean to say like I sell stock all the time. But what I mean is, I'm not like calling my broker and saying list 10 million shares on the offer at the top and don't move. Like
dump it all today.
Yeah. That never ever happens. I was a trader for a long time. I called in all my own trades. Like, and remember, I'm not using E-Trade or like Ameritrade or whatever. I have to call the bank. On the phone, like it's the 80s. Like, and I have to say, hey, look, I need 100,000 shares. Blah blah blah. Do you really think I'm spending my days all day long doing that? Like calling in trades? You know what I mean? So I don't plan on getting paid all at once. Another thing is the way I do get paid all at once is on NASDAQ uplists. And the only reason that I say that is because usually there's IPO shares or like I'm written into the S1. So like, let's just say like they owe me, let's just say QIND. Here's a great one for you. I think they owe me 1.3 million in promissory notes plus interest. So whatever the math comes out to be, that thing converts, into shares of the IPO. Like, so when they uplist to the NASDAQ, let's just say the stock is $5. Okay. I get, whatever that value is. I think it's a 20% discount to whatever the IPO price is. So if it's $5, I think I get them, it's 20%. So I get it at $4 a share. So I'm kind of up 20% already on that $1.3 million. That's basically how I get paid back at one time. Other than that, I'm taking this stuff out in a way that like nobody would even notice. I've never ever sold more than like 3 to 5% ever of the daily volume. And that's like, I mean, it's like nothing. I mean, and I don't even have leak out provisions in my stuff. I could sell 100% of the volume if I wanted to. But remember, that's another thing. Brokers don't let you do that. Like, even if you were an E-Trade and you were like 100% of the volume of a stock, I'm not going to let you do it. Like, I mean, like if the stock's traded like $10 today and you're trying to sell $50,000 of it, they're going to say no. Like, they're going to say, sorry, the market does not support this, blah, blah, blah. Like, please call this number. They'll give you an 800 number. And that's E-Trade, Ameritrade. It's all the same. It's the same rules for me. It's not like I'm not a market maker. I mean, I'm not allowed to just sell whatever stock I want. I wish, believe me. I mean, I would have sold Optech back in the day.
Yeah.
Everyone's so bitter. I'm still bitter about it, you know?
Yeah. That one still burns you, I know. Now, Bill, I hope that answers, that was along the lines of what you were asking too, Bill. So I hope that answers your question. Really good information here. Sam, I'm going to pivot to you for a couple seconds. And yes, the elephant in the room, CYBLCE, we're going to talk about that. I have a bunch of questions that were handed to me. I have a bunch of questions that I have right here, and we're going to get to that one. But I want to ask Sam Aker, what's on the Sam Aker watch list, and give me your best investment. What are you most impressed with when you look at financials?
Ooh, well, well, let's say, let me put this in perspective for you guys. I'm not as big of a OTC personally investor like Brett, right? I'd say out of my total portfolio, maybe no more than like 5% of it is actually in penny stocks, which maybe I'll thank myself for when I'm older. But so, bearing that in mind,
do you have Ilis? I'm sorry, I had to plug it.
I do not own Ilis.
Yet.
I do not own Ilis. No, I think I did really like. Well, I mean, you guys know I talk about SIRC a lot. Despite all the frustration, I think I averaged down when it got to like 0.015 or whatever. I thought that was like stupidly low personally. So I did really like that. Honestly, my biggest position is this, and I own like, this is by far my biggest position. So take this with a grain of salt here, but my biggest position right now is a company called RJD Green. RJDG is the ticker, right? It's like a super small, simple company. All they do is they make like, they're like, it's like, what would you even call it? Like stone top cabinets, or sorry, not cabinets, countertops, and things like that. It's like custom construction type thing, right? Super simple company. They've been profitable for a long time, growing. They're in Tulsa, which is a pretty good general housing market right now. They have like no debt, a lot of cash. It's trading like near its book value. Like that, it's just a real simple play. It has a lot of run-ups. Like over the last few years, it's had a few run-ups where I've sold because I've said like the price, it gets silly. But it's just such a simple company and really easy to value that I don't know. I felt more comfortable with that just because it's a pretty basic one. So that's probably my biggest one right now. I still have a little bit of Alpine 4, SIRC, a little bit of AITX as well, but not that much. But yeah, that's really what I've been looking at lately. My watch list is pretty small. Like I said, the OTC has a lot of junk in it, so my watch list is it can't be more than like 10 companies right now. So
yeah, right now I think we're in a special time in the OTC because especially with economic pullback, with recession, people doing more due diligence. You know, I think things are starting to change because we're learning how to trade better. I'm one of those people that people curse out all the time, but you know, about learning, you know, when we were locked down, learning to trade a little bit, losing money and not knowing what the hell I was doing. And I've taken the last 2 years to, you know, talk to people like you, Brett, Sam, have people on and just learn. I mean, I talk to Jordan Hugga all the time, you know, and he guides me along. You know, you meet connections of people who sort of can gauge the market properly. And I mean, I won't tell you how many times I talked to Jordan. He's like, yeah, this is the price you got to wait for. And what do? I get a little impatient. What do I do? I buy, and then there you go. It goes right to where you said it would go. And it doesn't happen all the time like that, but there's times when you have to heed the warnings and advice of people that you're surrounding yourself with. So I'm trying to surround myself personally with like-minded people, with people that want to share valid information. I do want to get into a couple things as of recent, and I wanted to share a couple things in case anybody missed it earlier that is joining right now. And so I want to talk a little bit about Ilis. All right. Now, I want to bring this up for Brett, and I want to get your take on this. We talk about QIND. They're going to NYSE American, and they're on track at this point for summer 2023. Yes, timelines. Hey, take your Ilis timeline pills, folks. But the fact that they're doing this is great. QIND is preparing for New York Stock Exchange American. We've seen all this. This is important information going on. They have this is what they released today. All right, very important stuff. Ilis now confirms that it has secured the facility in Kragujevac. I think that's right. I don't know if that's right.
You just said that. I just go Serbia. Yeah, you don't know.
That place in Serbia. You know what I mean? And so they have meetings with European government leaders. I see parallels between the strategy here and what's going on with CYBL, and we're going to get to CYBL, but a much larger phase two. They're now not only going to have that 6x6 E-Raptor, which I have 2 on back order that, once I'm just kidding, I really don't, but hopefully I won't really own one. But and they have the production of the new 4x4 models. It seems like they have their vision is clear. They mentioned this last week. We're going to get updates on ERT acquisitions. I like that pluralization there. The E-Raptor production, which we just got. We got a Hyperion Defense Solutions. So I'm looking at all this. All right. I'm looking at all this. And I got to ask you, when you see this, Brett, is this music to your ears? And does this make you happy as an investor, as a big time investor, that they are acquiring these things and they're networking through government contracts like this?
Yeah, I of course it's good news. Anytime that you see them actually executing and doing what they say they're going to do is a good thing with me. Anyone who's been investing in the OTC markets for several years knows that CEOs' allegiance to the truth aren't always like there. I don't know how to say it as nicely as possible. They're liars. I don't know how else to say it.
That's right.
So, yeah. I don't know. I guess that's just. I don't know.
No, I like what I'm saying and compared to you, I don't have like an absurd amount of money in Ilis, but from my position and where I'm at, with what I make a year, I have a substantial amount, in my opinion, in Ilis. And when I do see these things going on, and here's my Ilis tangent, I like to see the progress. They've been showing the progress, and I don't know. I have a very positive feeling about this because I think Serbia has been long lingering over us for a while now. So I'm glad to hear that you're sort of optimistic on it. And in your honest opinion, do you see them taking the steps necessary after QIND uplist? Because I think that's going to be inevitable. I think with that share buyback,
it's not that far away. It's not like it's years in the future. It's like it's months away, not years away. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think with this, and I got to pick your brain on this because you have access to these guys too. Do you think that with this and with the ERT acquisitions, which I think if they nail those acquisitions, those U.S. acquisitions, the target of 60 million for that one company, and this is, you got to understand, there's 11 companies under the Ilis umbrella, and that is expanding really rapidly. That's a lot for 2 years. And so I see a lot going on there, especially with the ERT acquisition. So do you think at this point, the question is, I'm sorry, I'm rambling a little bit, that Ilis will be a candidate to go to the NASDAQ or NYSE at some point in the next couple of years?
Yes. I think it's not going to be as direct as as people would hope or might think it will be. I think there's going to be multiple spinouts, and when I say spinouts, I know that QIND wasn't really like underneath them, but you understand what I mean? Like they're like affiliated. Like I think there's going to be several spinouts, and I think that those spinouts all add enormous value to Ilis. So like, for example, when QIND uplists to the New York Stock Exchange, that creates enormous liquidity event. It creates, money, revenue. Everything for Ilis. It's good for them. They own a considerable portion of the company, So, it works out for everyone it works out for everyone.
Yeah, especially getting like when they buy the majority of a controlling block, and then they have the acquisitions under that. That's brilliant. It was a really smart idea, I think. And I think
I think so. And Nick is really good. As far as like a CEO goes, and like, look, there's a balance between like issuing stock, keeping shareholders happy, and like progress. But like remember, like with what they're doing, like it's not free. Like it costs millions of dollars, like what they've accomplished and what they've done. Like it's not like if it cost 20 grand, everybody would have a business like Ilis. Do you know what I mean? Like, but and the thing is, I mean, Nick is the guy works hard. I'm not going to lie. Like, I mean, for a CEO, like most of these guys are kind of like a lot of these CEOs are kind of like looking for a free ride. They want to issue enough shares so that they can make 6 figures a year and like, take their family on vacation. I get it. Nick is like, so he's in Dubai most of the time. So he's usually 10 hours ahead of me. I mean, the guy talks to me all the time. He'll call me like 6 a.m. my time, like 5 o'clock in the afternoon Pacific time. I mean, that's like the middle of the night in Dubai. I mean, like seriously. I mean, like, so I mean, I don't know. His allegiance to this is solid, and that's pretty much what I've started betting on in the last couple of years. Is really, really vetting out management. And like, I mean, so like someone like Nick and JP, like I've sat with them, I've met with them, like I've eaten meals with them, like, do you know what I mean? Like I've talked to them in depth. Same thing with a guy like Mark Schmidt from CYBL. It's the same thing. I mean, like I'm betting on these people and not so much like the companies. And then like, it's, I mean, I would rather have like a mediocre business and really good management than like an amazing business and some shitty managers, because like it's just going to run into the ground. Like, unfortunately, like, like after a while you can only issue so many shares for money. Do you know what I mean? Buyers dry up. Okay. Like you cannot just infinitely issue shares. And I think that like Ilis, for example, has done a great job of like managing that outstanding share count. I know that it's gone up a little bit and it's gone down and there's been cancellations and issuances, but for the amount of money that like they've received and on the terms they've gotten, it's unbelievable. I mean, other companies. I mean, I know it's crazy. Like look at these other companies, like the one you showed before, that Kegs. They get like 5.8 billion. What Pfizer?
Hey man, don't talk about Kegs that way.
Listen, dude, that's gonna be my Brett Rosen triple play to 8 cents, like you just explained. Back off. No.
All right, sorry. Okay, bad example.
You guys just heard he endorsed Kegs fully. No, no.
Well, can I say something really quick?
Absolutely.
What you're getting at here. People like to pound the desk and they hear the word dilution. They're like, "Oh my god! Like, what are you doing?" Like, and people think that like acquisitions just like are given to you for free or something. They're like, "Why don't they acquire any companies?" And they're like, "Well, why are they diluting?" And it's like, "Well, what do you want them to do? Like, just snap their fingers and companies appear and like subsidiaries appear? Like, it's all about what you're like reinvesting with. If it's some like scammer who's just like paying himself $400,000 a year to do nothing and issue shares, then yeah, that's bad investment. But if it's like a company that basically exceeds your cost of capital, that's a good investment, right? And issuing equity has a cost of capital, right? I mean, that's like capital investing 101, guys. Like just think about what they're doing with the dilution.
And it's actually really smart that Sam says that, because like dilution is like, obviously it's a bad word. You own less percentage of the company, but does anyone actually care how much percentage they own of these companies? No, they care about what the share price is. That's all you care about. So like if you have 100 million shares outstanding and you issue, and the stock is 10 cents, and you issue another 100 million shares, yeah, you diluted down 10%. But if that share price goes up, you didn't dilute anything. You actually built market cap. Like that's the difference. Like, I mean, look at Ilis. I mean, the thing used to be sub penny, whatever, back in the day. I mean, you guys find it when they're sub penny. I wish I was as smart as you guys. Like, I'm the idiot that finds it at 52 cents and is like, hey, you know what? Let's do a deal. Like, I mean,
well, it's a valid point, especially what you said before, is the fact that, and I've said this in so many videos and in so many forums, that they're not bloating the share structure to high hell. No. They aren't. I mean, you're talking adding 10 million shares, 20 million, or when it isn't in the whole scope of things for the value that they're adding to the company and everything underneath it. And they're just getting started. This is in its infancy. But not only that, when they had the chance to keep I think it was 40 million shares. I'm probably going to be wrong. They made sure that they canceled those 40 million shares. Am I right about that? There were 40 million shares that were just lingering, and they made sure they didn't keep. Nick canceled them right out. And
exactly, which means they go back to Treasury, which means they can never be sold again. That's why.
And they have that wiggle room now, because now they have 40 million shares to play with for acquisitions.
Correct, without like bloating the thing. I mean, it was actually like the same thing with CYBL. And not to like jump around too much here, but like in the very beginning, like when I invested, not the very beginning of CYBL, but for me, the very beginning, when I invested with them, I mean, they canceled like I don't even remember what it was, some like 400 million shares of stock, and then only issued 250 million. I mean, I don't know about anybody else. I'm with some quick math. That's 150 million share reduction. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't usually, look, I've been in this business, like in the OTC markets for like 15, 17 years now. Reductions don't happen that often. Like, let's just say that, like, people aren't canceling their shares because once shares are issued, unless they're to like the CEO and they're canceling them for whatever, it's not easy to cancel shares. I mean, the person has to like physically sign them back over to you. It's like a wire transfer. Once you wire transfer someone money, unless they send it back to you, you're never getting it back. You know what I mean? Like, it's a one-time thing, So.
Yeah, right on. So let's talk. Let's do it. Let's get into it. CYBL. Here it is. The elephant in the room. And listen, I'm going to give my 2 cents here. All right. And this, for me personally, I know that first of all, I want to go to a scientific survey that I did. Here's the scientific survey. Very, very, details. The weighting on this was very crucial. I had a couple people in statistics at Harvard look at this, and I'm just kidding. But obviously, most people think that the CE is coming off. This was for fun. And you know what? If you guys were offended by this, I had a couple complaints that this was insensitive to
I never saw this.
And I'm laughing because, you know what? This was meant as a joke. And if anybody that's followed me knows that I'm very pro CYBL. And I think I'm with everybody else where we just want the damn CE off. We want them to do the share buyback. We want them to make sure that they're able to announce the awesome things that are happening right now. So, I got to just say that wasn't meant to offend anybody. And quite frankly, I have almost 13,000 invested in the company. If it offended anybody, tough shit. That's just it.
So do I. I have somewhere around 13 grand too. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, and then some, right? So of all people, and so and that sometimes when I deal with the frustration of the situation that we're in, I have to laugh at these things because 1, I'm not going to place blame on anybody. 2, this is a company issue. It's an OTCM issue, and you don't think that Mark knows about this. That we sort of let this slide, but I think this is an obstacle that is going to be created into an opportunity, and he put his energy where it needs to go, and that's building the business, which is completely off the rails right now. And I'm gonna share some things, and I want to just look at a couple slides here because I do have high conviction with this play, and I think anybody that has done a lot of digging and reads government files and reads the PRs
or reads the Wall Street Journal.
So let me just, and I'm going to ask the questions because you know what? And I'm going to say this, if you are holding and you're pissed off about the CE as an investor, you have the right to be pissed off. And I think that,
100%.
And so that's why when people say like, oh, you'll block me or you'll block, I'm not blocking anybody. Do you don't think I want the share price to be soaring right now? Because it's going to with what they're doing. I mean, it's insane. Let me share a couple things. And I want to get your thoughts, Brett. Sam, I want to get your thoughts. I know I'm going to talk about the filings as well, that there was a little discrepancy and back and forth on that on Twitter. But let's get into this right away. All right. Here it was. U.S. And I'm going to go back to February. This is when this all started coming through. This is when, we were pink limited, if I'm correct, or there was a yield sign. And so
that's pink limited. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I don't know what I'm thinking right now. But the whole thing is he took the time and he networked and he took the time to do it. He let some other things go to the wayside, but we're learning now that it was worth it. And then some. U.S. vows to send more drones aid to Ukraine on war's anniversary. And it talks about the money that's being spent. And many of us think that it's a waste of money. Some people don't. Many of us think that it's something that needs to be done. Nor here nor there, not being political. But one thing that we do know is that they're supplying the K-8 drone, and probably more than that. I mean, they're in connection with a lot of NATO countries right now. Let's go right to the state.gov, the Department of State. Let's go right to the website. So if you hear anybody, and I'm going to just correct this right now, that says this is a scam, this is fake, that is 110% bullshit.
And the government's a scam too, correct?
I mean, well.
No, some people in the chat might.
Hey, come on, it was just tax season. I could tell you that. I'm sure you know. But let's go right down. I mean, there's a lot of stuff they're supplying Ukraine, lots of money, and here it is, right on the Department of State website, Cyberlux K8 UAS. And I'm telling you right now, when I see this, it's very, very important. And now, as of recent, we all learned about this. All right, the JMH Group, formerly whatever it is, filed a lobbying registration on April 12th to represent Cyberlux Corporation effective March 1st. So they backdated it So you know that they've already been working on these things. That's what I gather from that. So they're lobbying, to introduce Cyberlux to congressional offices and DoD officials in order to articulate the value proposition of their solutions. And what I get by that sentence is it's really negotiations. All right. And this is really good because the government has a lot of money. I know because, well, we all give it to them. And then we have this other purpose here of introduction of capabilities, briefings on Cyberlux drones solutions. So back to where we're at here. I want your opinion and you to lay it out for anybody that's watching that's a sharing that's a shareholder. When do you think, in your opinion, I know like you're a shareholder like all of us, a more substantial one,
30 days.
Yeah. You think 30 days?
Yeah.
All right. That would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, in your honest opinion, and I'm going to get to some of the discrepancies in the filings because I think that's where Sam Aker comes in. I want to utilize his knowledge there. What are they going to offer? Do you think, and I'm just going to lay this out there, just tell me your opinion. Obviously, if you feel you don't have to, if you obviously don't have to answer anything I ask. I do have a couple questions that I'm going to get to from people that they sent to me. Do you think that they have any acquisitions? Do you think that they have more contracts than what they stated originally with those K8 drones? And do you think that they are going to have not recycled, renewable contracts, which they have the option to renew? Give me your idea about like what you think about all that. I got to know, and I got to ask the questions.
So good. First off, let's just start with this. Acquisitions, I don't think there's going to be any right now, which is good news for shareholders as far as like, having to give up a bunch of stock for stuff. Renewable government contracts, I think that's the name of the game. I think, once they saw this stuff in action, remember, you're talking about something that can take like high definition pictures away from 5 kilometers away. Remember, like if there was a drone 5 kilometers away from your house taking pictures of your house, you would have no idea. I don't care who you are. Like if you're the CIA, you would have no clue. Okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that to me is like, is pretty enormous. I just think it's going to keep building. So like, it's kind of like doing business with like a school system or something, or like a baseball team. Like, the baseball team buys their socks or whatever from all from the same place. They all get their hats from New Era. Everyone, you know what I mean? Like, it's the same thing with this. I just think overall, CYBL is more. I think it's more growth than acquisition. I think in all seriousness, it's their product is so serious and so like legit that I really, really believe that it's just going to be growth and like organic growth. And I know that's like everyone's pipe dream, and they like kind of think, oh yeah, that's never going to happen. You need to acquire businesses. But like in this situation, like they just got like what, like I don't even know how much it is, was it 70, 80 million, whatever the hell the number is on that. That's enormous. Remember, the United States government is giving you tens of millions of dollars. Like, I don't know about any of you, but the United States government never gave me any money, let alone tens of millions of dollars.
They take.
Exactly. I think I just wrote a bunch of checks to the government, as a matter of fact.
Holy tax season. Gotta love it.
Oh, yes.
And Sam, why don't you give me your overall, and I know you're more of a numbers guy.
Yeah.
Give me your overall thoughts on that news that I shared. And
maybe taking a step back here. I know I wrote some articles that were like not very friendly about what their filings looked like, right? But it doesn't take filings aside. You just got to turn on the news or something, or read any like news site and realize like, defense contracting and drones is probably pretty important, going on in the next. Who knows? It could be even more conflicts in the next 10 years. We don't really know, right? I'm not a geopolitical expert, but that's what a lot of people think. And so I think I actually really like the company in general, like what they're doing and everything. I wasn't ever invested because they were pink limited, I think, for a long time before a while before the
like 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I never invested, but I did keep following it because it was interesting to me. And you can find my older articles where I was pretty positive about the company. But then after they reissued filings. There's like 60 reissues or something. There was a lot of problems like that. And then the CE came on and they missed a disclosure about an attorney or something. And and then I think it was probably mostly my frustration, which a lot of you guys probably felt too, when we waited all that time and then an annual report came out and then I found problems with it, right? And some of them probably weren't that big of a deal. I think my main motive there was I was trying to, like I said at the beginning, I'm trying to encourage companies to do the best filings they can, right? I'm trying to help you guys with this. I'm not trying to like destroy the company or like I don't have like some crazy short position. I don't even know how to short this company. That's how
there's no way to short the stock. There's no such thing as this. Like, but like in all seriousness, like I've been in this business a long time, and like Sam's reports and stuff, like for a guy to just like take the time and effort to like do this stuff, just to like educate people is insane. I mean, like seriously, it's so nice and so good. I mean, like, back in the day, like there was no one there were people that were putting out false information so you learn the wrong stuff just so they could beat you. Like now at least it's like this guy's like, here, learn how to read the filings. Here's a 10K. Like, you know, it's pretty amazing. I mean, thanks, Sam. Seriously.
No, I appreciate that. No, and we see eye to eye on Cyberlux, I think, with going forward and stuff. I mean, I really hope the CE comes off for everybody, right? I mean, it's a cool company. It would be too bad to see them just get totally hammered by this thing. I'm
going to give a little tidbit of information right now. Like, I mean, I actually have been talking to some people, like, you know, OTC market, stuff like that. I mean, I know a bunch of people, like, you know, I can't say much more than that. Like, you know, they got almost no comments back from what I've understood. You can't quote me on this. I'm not, this isn't non-public information. This is just my trying to figure out and then me sharing it with all of you. So I'm pretty much told that they've like filed everything's done. They've been reviewed. They came back with a couple of comments. I don't know what those comments are. I don't know. I have no idea, but I was told that they're fairly minimal. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be a couple of changes, amendments, addendums, whatever. And that's for everything. That's for pink current and CE removal for everything. It's not just pink current and then we're still going to have the CE. So that's why I say 30 days. And that's the only reason I actually say 30 days.
And did it have anything to do? Well, maybe you can't say about Series B. I know we talked about
so like there was no mention of the Series B. Yeah, like I understand what Sam was saying about the thing. Like, I mean, obviously like not accounting for the other missing, I get it. It's not really like the issue at all. I don't believe it is. I mean, I don't know 100% yet, but I don't think it's the issue. Like,
yeah. And you know what? I was reading, and like I say, I like to read Sam's articles. I read them even when I don't, you know, I'm not invested. Like there's a handful of companies that I am invested in. There's my watch list, man. If I had the ability to invest in Sirc, I would have loved to get in at 1 cent. I mean,
right? It's over 3 now. I mean, it's crazy, right?
Yeah. Unbelievable. You know, I mean, so there are so many great stocks. Like I was talking about DVLP. If they have what's going for them, that could be a really good stock for shareholders getting in at 00 numbers, those sub penny numbers that you were talking about. But when I read Sam's articles, I at first I'm like, oh, why would he say that? And then I said, well, he was saying that because it's accurate and it's true. And it's from his lens of his background. And I go, and so the more I read, the more I learn. And you can't get, and this is the whole thing. And I will say this about Ilis. You know, I totally respect JP Nick, you know, even Mark Schmidt, totally respect for what he's done. And for him to get his ass over to Ukraine and do what he's doing is badass. It's badass. And, you know, and that's just the truth. You know, so, you know, when I see that, you know, I know that things aren't always perfect. When I had JP on, he said, you know, we make mistakes. Things don't always go 100%. Yep. But you know what? These younger companies, these companies that, you know, have the ability to grow, you're supposed to make mistakes. That doesn't mean you pack up your bag, say, oh, screw it. You know, right. So that's where I'm going with that. But I think that I don't know, that's my perspective with all of this. So yes, we did cover QIND. Let's see. I'm just looking through the chat section right here.
Hey, Eric, do you mind if we? My Discord channel is gonna fucking kill me if I don't bring this up. Do you want to talk a little SIRC really quick?
Yeah, no problem.
People are blowing me up right now about SIRC.
They're like, you son of a bitch.
It
was hooking.
What's that?
We hooked them in. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, hooked him in.
That is a joke. You know what? And if you're on Sam Aker's channel, Sam Aker is always welcome here. Hit the subscribe button. And my peeps, hey, get over to Sam Aker's YouTube page and click subscribe. The guy is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to
I'm dying over here.
Yeah.
I just started a week ago, man.
Go for it. Let's talk Sirc.
So I've gotten a bunch of questions. I guess in general, I don't. Hopefully, this isn't like a leading question or anything. But can you just talk about sort of how you see the company progressing, or like sort of what your thoughts are for 2023? I know a lot of people are. This is sort of like a new chapter for the company a bit coming into this year. Like, how do you see the company going? Like, are you pretty confident in what the team's doing and their direction?
Yeah, and I'll start out by saying this. I know Dave Massey. I've spent considerable hours with him. I've eaten meals with him. He's been to my house. Like, you know what I mean? Like, look, a lot of OTC CEOs don't give a shit. They really don't care at all. Like I hate to tell you that, like, they really don't give a shit about any of their shareholders, anything. Okay, all they want to do is get money and whatever. Dave is not like that. And I'm not like just coming on there and defending this guy, but like I'm serious. Like this guy, his health is deteriorated from this. I mean, the guy had like a stroke or a heart attack, whatever, like a year ago from this. I mean, like he wants nothing more. I mean, like, you know, he took over this company. Like when I got involved, the stock was like 40, 50 cents or something. It was like February of 21. Thing shoots up to like $3. Like seriously, like, I mean, it was trading like $50 million a day, like asinine volume. I mean, that was like, I mean, granted it was overvalued. It was the solar industry, whatever. But Dave, like, you know, I mean, he takes a lot of shit now because like everyone expects it to be $3. I mean, you know how it is, OTC is. Everyone takes the all-time high, and if it's below that, it's a scam. Okay, like, you know what I mean? Well, you know what? I got news for you. Deborah, my wife, she bought, I don't even know, $100,000 worth of Amazon stock that went down 50%. Well, I get Amazon boxes every single day at my house, and it's not a scam. I can tell you that right now. And it went down 61%. Okay, so like,
you too?
This, like, you know, like, but sorry, getting back to Sirc, I'm just making a joke. But like Dave Massey, like look, he's not Warren Buffett, okay? Like, look, he's not some like he's not some CEO that's gonna like, you know, go on, you know, CNBC and like rock, you know, Kramer's show or something. But he is a guy that, like, I mean, he built a business. I mean, the guy did work, and unfortunately, like, he's been lied to a lot. Like, and he's a good guy that believes people, just like, you know, like, and it's a flaw of good people. They believe because they're telling the truth, so they assume other people are too. I mean, like, look, he's been led down the wrong road a couple of times. Yeah, he asked a few too many opinions and that stuff. But I mean, literally right now, do I believe they're on the right track? If I said no, I'd be lying. I mean, yes, I think they're on the right track. And the reason that I say that is because out of my own self-interest and just to be fully transparent, it's too big to fail for me right now. I've put in millions and millions and millions of dollars in this thing. If they file bankruptcy and all my say, like, I mean, it's like a huge, huge blow to like my net worth. Do you know what I mean? Like, so like when I say it's too big to fail, like, I mean, like I gave them $1 million like a month or two ago. I mean, like I told them to make sure that they stay afloat. I mean, I'll probably give them another $1 million or $500,000 or something in the next week or so. And that's just because the sales cycle is really like part of it. Like, so like they have this enormous pipeline and no like super ability to move it. Everyone wants stock buybacks. Everybody wants this, you know what I mean? Like, but in reality, like what's really going to move this stock is $200 million plus of audited revenue. And I know that Dave Massey can make that happen. $200 million is the super low end for what he has in the pipeline. I've seen it. I know it. Like, remember, these are also like local California projects. Like, I mean, I'm able to like go over there and like see them. And like, this isn't like, I mean, it's not in Zimbabwe where I can't just take someone's word for it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I'm able to like legitimately see these things. Like, you know, I mean, look, I mean, Dave's doing the solar on my home. I mean, it's it's real. I mean, it's not. I mean, I guess I'm not like defending the guy. I'm also defending the company. I really am. And the reason I say that is because like they're not going to go out of business. They're not going to file bankruptcy because I'm not going to let it happen.
Yeah. So, no, it's good. Yeah, I think that's exactly what people wanted to hear. Yeah, I know they had a pretty tough last year, right? They had trouble getting funding. I think people also forget that they acquired all these companies, and it's like not easy to bring. How many companies did he buy? Like 5 to 10 or something like that?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
that was another real problem in the beginning, and that's what slowed things down. And like this is just Dave didn't know. It's not anything he did or like anything bad, but like so when you acquire a bunch of companies, each one of those companies. So let's say you acquire 5 different companies. All 5 of those companies needs to have an independent audit done, and then an audit fully of the whole company. That wasn't really made very clear to Dave. So he acquired all of these unaudited roofing companies or so. I mean, like, and then like, now remember, I don't know if you guys know, but like, I mean, well, Sam knows, but like audits are not a 48-hour process. It's not like becoming a life coach. You don't just do it in a fucking weekend. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, you have to like really like do it. You know what I mean? It takes like, at best for you to get a full year audit done, like, I mean, Sam, 90 days is like at best probably 60, 90 days. And that's if you're Amazon and like you're paying like millions of dollars, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you have your entire internal accounting team that's watching this stuff.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
You're around with SOX compliance and like
correct.
Yeah.
And the OTC markets is not doing that, nor are they nor are they a top priority on any auditor's list. Like that's another huge thing. So like there's only so many auditors, as Sam probably knows from like the OTC, like there's like maybe like 12, 15, 20 auditors, whatever it is, that are auditing all these companies. They're all due pretty much around the same time or through the same, cycle. I mean, what winds up happening is they get overwhelmed. There's no way they could possibly get them done in time. And then like people think it's the company's fault that the filings aren't done on time. But in reality, a lot of times it's the auditing firm or the accountant that didn't get the stuff done. Yeah. In CYBL's case, look, that company's been around for 15, 16, whatever it is, 16 plus years. You know what I mean? Like, it's just their accountant didn't do the best job. Their lawyer did a shitty job. Their lawyer got put on the prohibited provider list. I mean, it happens. You know what I mean? And like, unfortunately, that wasn't the only issue. But like, stuff happens.
Yeah. Well, actually, that segues well to this is a comment and a question to you, because they pulled their SEC reporting.
Yeah.
Like they issued, I can't remember the number of the letter or the form or whatever, but a lot of people were upset about that. I thought it was actually a pretty good idea, honestly. Like I think I don't think it was really giving them very much, and it's expensive and it just takes so much time. Like I can't imagine how annoyed Wanda was about that. The CFO, sorry.
Yes, definitely. I talked to her. Trust me. She wasn't happy.
Yeah. So I think it was a good thing. I know people got kind of annoyed about that, but it's going to save them a lot of money. They can sort of focus on the business. And I mean, we know that they can. I trust their financials pretty well. Like they have pretty high quality reports, even though they're unaudited. So I don't know. I assume you agree, but
I totally agree, because a lot of their reports, even though they're unaudited, remember a lot of that stuff involves like government grants, like stuff like that. Like you can't really lie about that stuff, even in the pink sheet world. Like, do you know what I mean? Like eventually you have to show that the money hit your bank account. And that's the bottom line. Yeah.
So I think that was something someone had asked me about, was what you thought about that. Let me just flip through here really quick. I think this will maybe be the last one, so we don't spend too much time on it. We got some good news.
You can spend as much time as you want.
we got plenty to talk about. There was a PR about the Granite loan, the 14 million that got converted at a really high premium. Do you? I speculate about why he did that, or it's a great thing for the company. First off, like that's awesome. Like that was
it's amazing for the company.
Yeah, like that was. I don't think people understand maybe how big that was.
It's enormous. It's almost like unheard. It actually is unprecedented, and the fact that he's willing to do this and is doing it is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
He's obviously like converting at his $4.50 price, and that's where the shares come from, and like that's like how it works. But at the end of the day, like if you guys go back in the filings, you'll see. The guy got 130. Look, let me just tell you something. If you give me $100 million, I'll be happy to give you 14 million. So like, if I went to a restaurant and I was $100 for the meal, I would tip the waiter more than $14. Like, you know what I'm saying? I guess I'm a tip. Sorry, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
14%.
14% is like worse than what you tip a waiter. You know what I'm saying? So like, look, like when I originally invested in Sirc, like people like started hating on it or whatever. I got 13.8 million shares for $9 million. Okay, like this guy got 138 million shares, 10 times what I got. So.
That was telling. Some people were messaging me about that, and I was like, I'm pretty sure he just made so much fucking money that he was like, you know what? I'll let the company help the company stay up. Like I'm rich. Like
Well, yeah, I mean, that's exactly what happened. And he's big in real estate. So like the owner of Granite, he's into real estate. So, for example, if he's able to take a $14 million capital loss, because remember, like on paper, that's a loss. It's a huge. I mean, look, I would love to throw a $14 million capital loss to my account and be like, hey, you know what? I'm not going to pay taxes this year. You know, we're good. I just lost $14 million. Like, I mean, that's like pretty much like what he's doing. So like, it's not exactly free. Like, I mean, look, it looks altruistic or whatever, but like, he's been given $100 million. He's doing this for a tax break. I mean, like, look, I mean, like, I'm not trying to blow someone's spot up, but like, you know, I think I'm the person whose spot gets blown up more than ever, and it's not even the truth. So like, you know.
Yeah. And actually, Eric, when we did our video on INND, we went through the exact same thing. And I said, I bet you someone forgave a bunch of debt. And I was like, I bet you this company made so much fucking money that they were just like, you know what? We'll just forget. They forgave it, though. They didn't even convert. They just forgave it straight up. So,
and you were sort of baffled for a second. You were like, huh.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Sirc, I mean, honestly, like Granite canceling that for the 4 million shares or whatever is almost the same thing as it being canceled. I mean, like, I mean, 4 million shares right now is worth what, 120 grand? I mean, like 130 grand. I mean, something like that. I mean, like, that's an amazing $13.8 million capital loss. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. No, it was good, really good for the company. And then, sorry, this will be my last question because a lot of people ask me this too.
No apologies.
I guess just your general thoughts on, and you probably can't talk about a lot of this, but just their ability to find financing this year, because it sounds like there's still some in the works, right? They just had a lot of debt forgiven, but they still need some cash now, right?
Yeah.
And they'd been talking about like a 10 million line of credit that was supposed to be close to closing. So I guess my question is, are you confident in all of that getting settled and done?
Yeah. The only thing that I want to straighten out here is like the word line of credit gets thrown around like in the wrong way by this company. Like, and this isn't a thing against Dave. I love him. Like, I'm just saying, like, but this is like, he doesn't use the term properly. Okay. Like, for example, like when I agreed to invest X amount of more money, it was not a line of, I have a line of credit with Sirc. It's $2 million. Okay. That's what it is. That's totally to get rid of the MCA loans, like that kind of thing. But when like, my other investments are not what you would call a line of credit. They're like convertible promissory notes. Like, so like, it's convertible debt. Like there's no line of credit. There's no drawdown. There's no, like, you know what I mean? I just think it's important that everybody understands that part of it, going forward.
Okay. So it's not a line of credit. This is actual debt. Like
yeah. So examples. So like the $10 million and the $25 million thing, like, the $10 million thing, like there was someone that I knew that was going to invest, I think it was $6 or $10 million. I think it was $10 million total in them. It's just like, you know how people are. They, at the end of the day, they come up with if they don't want to do it or they don't have the money, they come up with any excuse as to why they shouldn't do it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's eventually, it just kind of fizzled out. And like, I actually take responsibility for this one. I brought this group in. I vouch for them. Like I thought it was 100% a done deal. And unfortunately it didn't turn out that way. So it's kind of my fault. But they led Dave to believe that it was all done. I mean, the guy even went so far as to say, like, we'll probably wire the money on Monday or Tuesday. And then Monday or Tuesday rolled around and they canceled. So like, that's how like when Dave tells you things, he's actually being told it's going to happen. I mean, he's not speculating. He's not making it up. Like, I mean, he's just an honest guy that believes people, like, I mean, look,
yeah.
You know what he told me the other day? I went to breakfast with him a couple weeks ago and he told me that like, He goes, this is awful. He goes, this is like eating me alive. He goes, I made more money up on roofs. Guys are taking a fucking salary and I don't even know how long, and like,
yeah.
He goes, I made more money when I was up on roofs putting solar panels up there. And now I got people, telling me that they hate me and like, I should go to prison and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, look, I mean, you think being an OTC CEO, I mean, that's the hardest job in America, probably. You know what I mean? Like everybody hates you. Even if you do a good job, they all hate you.
Yeah. So I guess then, like, looking forward, are you confident they'll still be able to close financing? Because I think there's still some TBD financing out there, right? I don't know if you can talk about it, but
no, definitely. Okay, so like some of the financing is from me. So like they haven't actually said that exactly like us, but like they Do I think they're going to secure it? So the reason why I made my financing, I tied it to the stock price. Okay, so like I tied it to the market cap of the company. When I say market cap, I mean number of shares outstanding times the trading price, market cap. I gave them a sliding scale. I'm like, hey, look, I'll invest $25 million more in you on amazing terms, but the stock price has to be here. You have to do this. So for example, if a company's got a market cap of $10 million, how do you invest $25 million in them? What are you going to give me 2.5 of your company? You know what I mean? Like it's impossible. So like I basically made a deal with them, and like there's a bunch of different like sliding. It's a sliding scale, so there's a bunch of different like brackets. But like roughly, if Sirc could get their stuff back to 20 cents and above, they'll get 25 million from me. All convertible at $4 upon a NASDAQ uplist. So it would never cause dilution. It would never cause anything. And that's exactly what the first $1 million note was that I gave them. $4 conversion price, totally convertible on an uplist, has nothing to do with the stock right now. No shares were given to me in exchange for it. Zero. I mean, that's like the truth. Like nobody wants to believe that because like there always has to be some villain on why the stock is going down. And like, unfortunately, I've become the villain on so many stocks. I mean, I'm the villain on stocks I'm not even invested in. I mean, it's like, it's Brett Rosen doing this. Like, I can't even believe it. Like, I mean, like, it's insane.
You know what's going to happen, Brett? Like 100 years is going to go by. You're going to be dead and gone. And they're going to be these myths about you. Like Brett Rosen, he was involved in kegs. He said it once.
Lost all my money.
He was on Buffalo Fireside Chats and he said kegs.
And it's not even going to be Buffalo. It's going to be Binghamton Fireside Chats. It's just going to be all wrong. It's going to be wrong.
Oh, no.
Yes. What's happening? It's an alternate universe.
Well, I guess I'll cede the floor then on SIRC. Those are probably the most pressing questions I got. So I'll kick it back to you if you have other stuff you want to get into.
Well, I do have a couple questions. Some people have some questions here. And I do want to say that I'm going to be covering SIRC more. That's one that it's been on my watch list, and I like I said, I wish I would have got in at the penny level because I could have retained my initial investment and been enjoying the ride with many of you. But so I will be covering that one more. I do want to bring a question out, and I'm going to try a new feature here. All right, here's the question: being a member of law enforcement. Whoa. Oh, I love this feature. You put the question right there.
Wow, that's
slick. Pretty awesome. Hey. The USMC over at the Ilis Discord, he introduced me to this program. So shout out to you. And actually, he's going to help me manage some of the live broadcasts in the future. So shout out to you. Being a member of law enforcement, we are buying a crap load of drones. Is Cybl working on the aspect? We're spending $7,000 to $30,000 per drone. Huge market. Whoa. And yeah. And so let me ask you this, because remember that we had an interview with Mark, and I asked whether or not they were doing demos or whatnot for municipalities. And he said he couldn't comment at that time, and that's a lot of money.
Yeah. So remember, like
your thoughts.
The reason they can't comment on this is because, like, look, if you were a country or a government or a law enforcement agency or a police, whatever the hell it is, like, do you really want like your competition or like your criminals knowing where you bought your drones? Like, I mean, I know it sucks, and everybody wants to hear this. I mean. It's just, unfortunately, like some of these companies can't talk about things, and it bothers me. I mean, look, Mark Schmidt sent me an email the other day that said to me, he's like, or a text message, he goes, I couldn't even tell you about the stuff I wanted to. It's so classified. And I'm like, I give you millions of dollars. I can't even hear this shit. I mean, like, seriously, like.
Yeah. I don't know if there's any, if there's, oh, sorry. Go ahead. I was just going to say, if there's any AITX listeners here, you guys know this all too well. I mean, it's like security automated robots, right? And every single company or not every single, but a lot of the ones they sell to are like, we don't want people to know that we have these things, because then like the people are gonna like find ways around them, or they're gonna sort of know what we're doing, and no one wants to say that they have like problems with these kinds of things. So it's like probably like 75% of them he can't even say who he's selling them to. It could be Amazon, it could be whoever, and they can't say. So yeah, it sucks. I know, but we have to sort of take their word for it that it's good. You know,
I mean, he was even telling me one step further that like they had to have like secrecy things for like the auditors and the accountants, like meaning like they're not even allowed to know the names of the things. So like, and remember, like it's very hard for an accountant or an auditor to like sign off on something if they don't actually know the name of the person. That's like, I mean, it's not as easy as it sounds.
Yes,
or it's harder than it sounds.
I'm going to fire off a couple questions, and I'm going to just show them and a couple comments. First one, and ask them about CYBL share buyback plan and uplist plan. Do they have plans, to buy back immediately after?
Yeah. So I spoke to Mark Schmidt. I spoke to him as recently as 1:30 this afternoon Pacific time, 4:30 Eastern time. The stock buyback plan is 100% in effect. I mean, they have money for it. They're doing it. Unfortunately, as most people know, you are not allowed to buy it back now. I mean, like, technically, the reason why they're not even talking to shareholders is because they're not even allowed to put out news now. When you have a caveat emptor, you're not even supposed to be like disseminating news or doing anything unless you're current in all of your like reporting requirements. And that's like, people don't want to hear that. That's why like they get away with a couple tweets here and there, but like unfortunately, like that's also gray area. You know what I mean? Like, he's taking chances by updating his shareholders, and like as much as like, I mean, even today I was like, hey, look, can you put something out saying like, blah, 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 like how it's going with OTC markets, and and unfortunately, like they just can't. I mean, they have lawyers like telling him not to do it, and I wish.
Well, you know what the thing is too. Every source that I used for CYBL information today was not a CYBL source. It was a government source.
Correct.
Or you know what I mean? So that's how we're finding our information, from the Department of State,
And there's very few OTC companies where you can look them up on the Department of Defense website. You know what I mean? Like, so like, let's just look.
Right. And I want to just mention, hey, Rob Stolarczyk, I met him at the Ilis shareholder meeting. He just subscribed to your channel, so he's looking forward to checking it out. Hey, Rob, shout out to you, brother. How you doing?
Thanks, man. Glad to have you. You might be subscriber number 45. I don't know where we're at now. I might get you a plaque.
Yeah, that's pretty damn funny. You know what? It was funny. I was teaching today, and one of my students, I was at $12.99 on my count. And she subscribed, and the one kid's like, dude, no, I'm unsubscribing now to like reduce the count. So I go, you guys are slick. I go, I like that. But hey, hopefully if they're watching, they're learning something, and they become good investors. But this is not financial advice. This is just a couple of dudes having.
I never give financial
talking about investing.
I've never given financial advice. So.
Yes. I mean, my gosh, I would slap myself upside my head if I met my 22-year-old self. That's for sure. I
actually wish that I could like permanently save in Twitter in my cut and paste something that says like, I do not give trading advice. I get so many every single day. Hey, should I buy it at this price? I'm like, I don't have any idea. Like, I don't even know what stock we're talking about. Like,
No, that's funny. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. I'm just looking through the chat right here. I'm just trying to see if anybody. We did talk about AITX.
AITX. Oh. I actually just real quick. I'm not an investor in that company at all, but I do know the guy really well, the CEO.
Steve?
I've met with. Yes.
He's a great guy.
He's a great guy. I've met with him in person. I've been to their place in Orange when they were in Orange County. I went up there. I saw their whole robotics thing. I've sat with him. He's really, really, really smart. Like I mean, like. I didn't do it. Like I didn't do a deal with him, and the only reason was because of like the high outstanding share count and like the whole.
Oh yeah.
I mean, look, and the whole like he's brilliantly smart. Like the only thing was he didn't want to play the OTC game. If that makes any sense to anybody, like I don't want to say the game. I want to say like he didn't understand the aspect of. He knew he didn't want to reverse, and I get that because like Mark Schmidt doesn't want to reverse. I mean, I understand that, but remember, unless you have like this monster thing that's going to drive it without a reverse, you're not going to just like come out of sub penny land or penny land. You know what I mean? Like you're not just going to go to $5. It doesn't work that way.
Do you think that the share buyback will be substantial enough to avoid a reverse split with the
for CYBL?
For CYBL,
yes, and the reason that I say that is because like I confirmed again. That in total, there will be $19.5 million of cash used. Now, I know you can't take $19.5 million and multiply it by 0.003 or whatever the fuck the stock price is now. Like, it doesn't really work that way because it's going to start going up a second. I mean, like, okay, but like, remember, I have like from like, I mean, Mark's probably going to get mad that I say this, but he told me that he plans on buying back 2 billion shares with a B. That's their estimate. So like, hopefully he doesn't get mad at me for saying that, but like, if he does, sorry, Mark, I apologize.
Well, one thing.
Wait, we got some very, very important information. And Tom Stein, thank you everyone for the financial advice. I will buy CAGs at market open. And guess
your
what?
lawyer together.
I bet you already bought kegs at market open. Nah, I'm just kidding.
Buying overnight. Oh man.
Yeah, he's been a great supporter. He's great.
Yeah, I wanted to bring one quick theme because we've been talking about buybacks a lot, and this is what fucks over a lot of companies in big boards and stuff. You have to a buyback in itself doesn't actually create value unless the shares are undervalued, right?
Correct.
So clearly, people think Cyberlux is undervalued, right? But you get these companies like what's the fucking meme stock, Bed Bath and Beyond. That's what fucked them, right?
BBY or whatever.
Yeah, that's someone can correct me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what fucked them over. Is they were just buying back shares because they're like, woohoo, look how cool this is, and then they had no money, and then they went under. They went bankrupt in like 6 months or something.
You either have to be super undervalued or have such a low float.
Yes.
So like there was this stock back in the day, like I want to say like 2015, maybe, like it's probably not even on the exchange. It was SXHHF was the symbol.
What in the world?
Well, because it had an F at the end, so it was a foreign company. So whatever. The stock went up 29,000% in one day. Okay, it was low flow. The whole thing had been bought out. If you put in $1,000, you had, like, no exaggeration, like $1 million, and like. Now remember, there wasn't the liquidity to get out of it, so everyone's scrambling to fight for the liquidity that existed. Like it wasn't like you could get out of it. But I mean, I've never seen anything like that happen before, and that was an example of that was like when I saw how buybacks could actually work. So remember that EXPI company I was talking about before?
Yeah.
So what they did is they created a stock option plan for their employees. So basically, it's a multi-level marketing company of real estate. So they allowed their real estate agents to have 5% of their commissions withheld from their check. That 5% went into a brokerage account that was controlled by the company, EXPI. EXPI then bought stock in the open market in the sales rep's name. But they were in charge of it. So they had millions and millions and millions of dollars. So they were buying it up. Now, they weren't buying it back and returning it to Treasury, but they were buying and holding it. It's like the best thing that can happen. I mean, it's like, I wish I could make this happen with every one of my companies. The problem is it only works if you have thousands of employees.
Yeah.
See what I mean? You need thousands and thousands of employees. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Right. Yeah, I think people just need to be careful whenever they hear stock buybacks that I'm not saying Cyberlux is doing this. Definitely not. But you hear it a lot where people are like, oh, yeah, we're going to buy back stock. It's going to be awesome, man. Sure. And then it either never happens, or it's like, is the stock really undervalued? Because the company is literally investing in itself. That's what's doing when it's buying back stock. It's at an undervalued price that is like, it creates value for everybody by them buying it, right? So just be careful when you hear that in general. Just think about it a little bit of why, like what the context is. So
or another thing to take it one step further is like all of Sam's reports, for example. Like, why don't you take a look at the financials and see, like, is there any real way they could actually do the buyback they're talking about?
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Like, I mean, for example, like if someone tells you they're buying back $20 million worth of stock, and they have like $1,800 of cash on hand, probably it's not going to work. Like, I mean, I'm not a math man, or I'm not a math major, but
Yeah. That was actually a funny one that the Steve Reinhardt actually gave me a good chuckle, because people always ask him, like, when are you buying back shares, blah blah blah. And he's like,
where's the money coming from?
Yeah, he's like, we're a growth company here. Like, I'm raising money through equity, like old school. Like, where the hell am I going to get money to start buying back shares? Like, what do you want me to do? Like, I can't just like create money out of thin air and start buying shares.
And people don't understand it's the hardest money to spend. So, like, for example, the money's gone. You're basically lighting it on fire. And I don't mean you're not lighting it on fire because you're building your market cap, but remember, like, it's not like if I were to go in the open market and buy shares of Microsoft and then like wait for it to go up and sell it, that's me making a profit. The company's buying these shares and giving them back to Treasury the same exact day they bought them. There's no chance of them making money. It's literally just a 100% sunk cost. There's no recovery whatsoever because the shares are gone. They never existed ever again.
Yeah, exactly. So sorry, that was a little bit of a tangent there, but
sorry. Tangents are my thing. Don't worry.
Yeah, I thought I'd bring that up because people talk about buybacks a lot, and I feel like that's something I feel very strongly about. So,
well, the problem is a lot of these companies used it as a buzzword. They used
Yes.
it like to try to because think about this: if your company tells you like Cyberlux, for example, the reason why theirs is actually going to work is because it's $19.5 million and they actually really have the money. The thing is this: if I have a sell order in, let's just say I have a sell order in at 20% above the market price right now on Cyberlux. I'm making this up, okay? Now, if I read a press release that says they're going to buy back millions of dollars worth of stock, any person who's not an idiot is going to pull their sell order, because why would you be the guy that sells it to them cheap when they're about to buy back millions of dollars? Like, you know what I mean? So like generally it does cause like a huge frenzy in the beginning. The problem is sustaining it. So like what I tell people is this: if you're going to do like a $10 million stock buyback, for example, buy it back in 4 different stages or 5 different stages of $2 million at a time. Don't do it at one time, because you're going to get that one pop and it's going to come back down. Do it when you can support it. Like if you're going to do a reverse, buy 5 million before the reverse and 5 million after. The best thing a company can do is do a stock buyback after a reverse. Support the stock after a reverse. I mean, I think, and I hate to bring up like a company that like whatever, like Humble or like whatever. I hate to bring up a bad company, like whatever, but like you take a company that got reversed out. Okay. Like had they just done this in the first place, had they had some money, of all that money they had, the millions and millions of dollars set aside to do a stock buyback after the reverse, it wouldn't have plummeted. Because like, remember, stop loss orders kick in. Like you remember, like most people like aren't willing to risk more than 20 or 25% of their investment. You invest $1,000 in something, it goes down $250, you're just going to sell and get out and go figure out a way to make the money back. I mean, like that's essentially like the situation that happened here. I mean, that's what wound up happening. I mean, and unfortunately, like it happens over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, I actually have a question. So I'm just going to put a couple of these out. There's a lot of them. Could you allude to this is more of a JP question, but the $50 million QIND payment I think it's tranche 2 payment.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about that you could share? Or, I would say that's more of a JP question, but I mean,
yeah. I mean,
what is your familiarity with that one?
I don't really have any information to give you. Like,
okay.
I mean, I really just don't know. I mean, like the payments, the actual payments getting done aren't exactly like my part of this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, yeah. I either have to believe they're going to do it or they're not. I can't I'm not an auditor. Like I can't be making sure that it gets done. I mean, look, as much as I wish I fucking could, I mean, it'd be amazing. But I mean, I don't think it's going to cause any dilution if that's what everyone's asking. Like, do I think they're going to have to they're not going to have the money and they're going to have to issue a bunch of shares to make up for that? I do not think that's going to happen. I think that ILUS and QIND are intertwined enough to the point that it's a symbiotic relationship. Neither one of them wants the other one to get messed up. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's if the payment's a little late or if it has to be done in tranches or however, it's going to be worked out. It's kind of the way that I feel about it, because it's the same control people in all the situations.
All right, there's 2 questions I have. I'm actually going to run and get some ice actually in a second.
That's what I did before
I know. That's right. This is guys, honestly, if you haven't subscribed, please join the BFC. This has been fun. And I think it's great to sit down with people in the trenches of the OTC, people that have knowledge, know how to read files, people that have invested, people that have won and have lost. And, it's great to share this journey with you, Brett and Sam. Great to meet you guys. And I'm going to steal some ice. But before I do that, I want to where's the question? Where is it here? Oh, come on. I did ask Walter's question. Yes. There's one question I saw that I did want to ask. Now, I think you did cover about the Sirc, but this was the question. I think for sharing the details on Sirc, your funding for Sirc will kick in only after 20 cents. The question is, how would they get that price without immediate funding to move projects?
So they did get immediate funding. From me. I mean, so that's easy. It's the sliding scale. It doesn't need to go to 20 cents. Remember, there's a lot of levels before that 20 cents. So there's 1 cent to 6 cents. There's 6 cents to 10 cents. You know what I mean? So it's not like even at like, and I mean, without like actually showing the chart or whatever, I guess I probably could if I had to, but like without actually like showing like the chart. I mean, actually, wait a second. You know what? I think I have it. Hold on 1 second. I'll be right back.
All right, Sam, sing a song. We need to fill some dead space. No.
God, no one wants to hear that. Everyone will log off.
I got the guitars behind me, and I just said that comment, which is pretty damn funny.
Man,
One day, Ilis hits a buck. I'm pulling those guitars off the wall.
All right, I got you guys.
I'm gonna grab some ice, Brett, if you want to allude to that. And
we'll take it from here.
Yeah, you go get your ice. I got this. It's all being recorded. You're fine. Don't worry.
BRB.
So, all right. So I'm going to show you guys the exact sliding scale that I gave them, so you can see how I actually want the share price to go up. There's no doubt about it. So this is the exact Sirc. I don't know how well it's going to show up, but
a little higher.
A little higher. Sorry, guys. There we go.
So it really does slide. Yeah. I think I see the lowest is 5 cents and top is something else. I think that's what it says. It's a little blurry.
All right. Here. I'll tell you guys. So basically, like, if it's 1 cent to 5.9 cents, like 1 cent to 6 cents, it's $10 million. However, if they're able to get the stock price to 20 cents, between 20 and 25 cents, let's just say that, and I mean that on average, okay, like that, not just one time it has to reach there. I'm literally going to wind up investing $50 million additional dollars. 50.
Wow.
And remember, like, it's not that I'm like sitting on this money waiting to give it to them. Like, I mean, remember, like, people have to know that, like, I do sell stock. Like, I'm not telling you I don't ever sell. Like, I mean, I haven't sold any Sirc stock in a while. I'm not going to lie, but I do sell stock. Like, I mean, like, that is how I make money. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm never, ever telling you that I hold forever and never sell, because that's not how the world works. I sell stock. Okay. Like, but do I ever hurt the companies that I sell stock in? Never. And you can see by my issuances, based on when they come out, that I'm not selling any more than 2 to 3% of the volume ever.
Yeah.
I know people ask me that question all the time. That's why.
Yeah, people think you're like actually, you know, for Sirc, I think I won't say his name, but there's somebody else that they think is tanking the share price, but I won't say that on here.
Oh, I know exactly.
I feel like you're not quite the villain, as much of the villain on SIRC.
Oh, trust me, Sirc is the only one where there's another villain. I mean, like, seriously, I mean, like, every other stock, I'm like automatically. I mean, it's funny that I'm not looked at as the person that gave millions of dollars to the company. I'm the person that's ruining the stock price. When remember, all my stock was a fixed price conversion. If the stock price goes down, I lose money. If the stock price goes up, I make money. Why would I ever want it to go down?
Yeah, exactly.
It's ridiculous.
I remember, that's what a toxic loan is, where it's a 50% discount to market. So no matter what the share price is, your discount is 50%. That's a toxic loan. That means if the stock price is 10 cents, I get it at 5 cents. If I drag it down to 5 cents, I now get it at 2.5 cents. There's no risk whatsoever. Mine is all fixed price. Like, I mean, if it goes down, I lose money. That's all there is to it. Like, I mean, just like everyone else, I just didn't buy my stock in the open market. And that's what gets a lot of people. You know what I mean? Like, oh, well, you just got all these shares of Ilis for 1 cent. I also got a bunch of shares of Ilis for fucking 25 cents. So the blended average is 10.8 cents, just so we're all clear. You know, I mean, believe me, which means I'm out of
about
the
the same average. That makes me a little bit happier right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10.45.
Is that what it is? 10.45.
Yeah, and you know, because I bought in, you know, down in the 6 cents, I think was my first buy-in, you know, early on 2 years ago.
Oh yeah.
You know, averaged up, averaged down, and man, I wish I had some leverage now, but you know, what can you do? You know, you just got to play with what you could afford to lose. Of course, I wanted to put up this suggestion from Jordan Hugga. Ask Brett to list OTCs he invests in for ideas for us. And you know, I was actually going to ask you about just how do you get in early? I know for example, I'm going to use Triple DX as an example.
Okay.
A nice.
I love that. I love that company, by the way.
Great.
I love that company. You know,
I'm going to do their preferred hopefully in a couple weeks.
Perfect.
Looking to get in. Literally, if you look at their share structure and what their new certification, what they're planning on doing, especially with more government contracts, it's there it is, government contracts again, and work for government agencies. I mean, you look at a company like that, that's sort of what you want to look for in the OTC. Like literally, it's
Correct.
at 3 cents and it has a very tight share structure. What do you do to find the companies? I mean, I obviously at this point they look for funding from you, but what advice could you give to find companies that you do believe have NASDAQ potential, that do believe can have exponential growth and can be 1,000xers, or whatever.
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly.
you know where I'm getting.
And as you know, that's my whole thing. I mean, like, I don't invest like 50 grand in 100 companies. I invest like millions in a few companies. Like that's my whole investment strategy, to find like the winners.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, let's just take Sirc. The way I found Sirc was this. I actually got super lucky. My lawyer, who writes all my opinion letters, who does all my legal paperwork, everything, happens to know another guy who knew Dave Massey, and they put me in a room together. I mean, that was like God's gift. That was like amazing. I mean, like, because like, I mean, I believe Circ's an incredible investment. Something like Cybl. I just found. I mean, honestly, like, I mean, as you know, I'm on Twitter every now and again. So like, I see the stocks that everybody talks about. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I went on Twitter for like. I mean, I originally started my account in 2016, but I never actually went on there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think the first time I actually legitimately started posting on Twitter was probably like in 2020, like something like, you know what I mean? I mean, so I don't know, the whole thing with the way that I find them, I guess, is, I mean, it's a combination. I would say, like, I wish I could tell you like there's a formula exactly how to do it. The problem is, like, if you call every company in the OTC market's a scam, and we know there's people that do that, like, we won't even say their name, but we know there's people that say that stuff, you're going to be right 99% of the time, unfortunately. Like, it sucks. Okay. Like, and when you say scam, it's not the company's a scam. Like, I mean, Bernie Madoff didn't start out, yeah, I'm going to do a Ponzi scheme. The guy started out with a legitimate business and it turned into that, unfortunately. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not making excuses for these people, but like, that's really like how this is right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, these people like aren't like, they're not trying to fuck everybody over. It's just, unfortunately, sometimes it's working out that way. And like, us people like us, the retail shareholders, or like the people like me that invest directly with the company, we're the ones that wind up paying the price for their whole, their little journey, and it makes all of us mad. I mean, like, remember, like, the same things that people get mad at me about, like, oh, well, how could this happen? How could the stock price go down? You don't think I'm mad about the stock price going down? Like, I mean, seriously, you guys understand, like, you guys lost like $600 and I lost like $6 million. Like, and it's all relative. I mean, who cares? I mean, the dollar amount doesn't mean anything. It's the same percentage to everybody. You know what I mean? Yeah. Everybody lost the same percentage of their money, whether you had $100 invested or 100 million invested. It's the same percentage, And I just think that, like, in the OTC markets, like, managing expectations is a huge deal. And I don't want to blame things on crypto, because I think people do that a lot. But crypto made it so people expect to see 100% gains every week. Like, they don't understand why. Or they expect the stock to never go down. Like, okay, I mean, I'm sorry. Like, if you guys know a stock that never goes down, can someone put it in the chat right now? Because I'll buy as much of it as I can get tomorrow. I promise you.
Me too. Just put it right down there in the comment section,
in the
guys.
Chat would be great for us. Don't even need to put the $sign in front of it. Just write the symbol. Like, we're good. No problem.
No, you make a good point, though, because I feel like I've ranted about this before. I feel like people have very warped views of what to expect out of a company. Like, if you told me today, like, okay, so let's use, like, we're in the OTC, right? We're higher risk, higher returns is the whole point. So, correct, like, exactly. So the S&P 500, 8 to 10% a year annualized, right? I have people who are like, what? I'm not going to earn like 10,000% a month or whatever. Right? I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I would be happy to get like 20% returns.
20% is amazing. Yeah. Let me put it this way. 20% is what Bernie Madoff was promising his Ponzi scheme clients, and it was working. Okay, so if you get 20% a year, you're a genius. I mean, the bank gives you 0.1% a year on your savings account, or whatever the math comes out to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's like I tell people, I'm like, calm down. Like, these are like you're like put some perspective, people. Like, you're taking a risk, but like you're not taking that big of a risk. Like, this isn't a lot. Like, maybe it is a lottery ticket for some people, but in general, it's not totally right. So yeah. Stocks go down, you're going to lose some. Like, you're never going to be right every time, but like the whole point is that it averages out and you're earning well above the market in like a large cap stock, right? That's kind of the goal here. At least my goal. I don't know what you guys are trying to do.
No, I mean,
Well,
totally. And it's like you said, you're not going to be right on every single stock. And the funny thing with me is, and I'll be the first one to admit this, is like some of the investments that I thought were going to be the best ones in the world were the ones that I lost everything on. Like, and it was so weird. It's like, it's a matter of like how much you believe the story. Like, do you know what I'm saying? That's why, like, I've learned a lot in my years in the OTC markets, like how to like navigate through the bullshit, I guess is the only way to say it. Like, and now, like, I mean, I've learned how to like do background checks and vet out CEOs beforehand. Like, but like the problem in the OTC markets is this, is like, if a CEO has 50 grand in credit card debt, I mean, does that mean he can't run a business? I mean, no, it just means he didn't pay his credit card bills. Like, I mean, like, but like to me, like, if I'm a lender to them, if I'm going to loan them millions of dollars, if you didn't pay your $15,000 credit card bill, like, how are you going to pay me $1.5 million? You know what I mean? Right. Like, and you're just going to see it the same way. And like, or the other kind of CEO where they owe someone $17,000 and instead they give them 100 grand worth of stock. Oh, what? I'll give you the 17 grand. You give me 50 grand worth of stock. I'll be happy to do it. I mean, are you serious? Yeah. I mean, like, it's laziness. Like, they're not going out and looking for something better. Like, I mean, some of the financing deals that some of my companies have taken, and I'm like, if you guys offered me that, I would have like thought you were kidding. Number one. Number two, I would have given you twice as good of a deal seriously afterwards. Like, you know what I mean? And unfortunately, like, it happens time and time and time again because like these CEOs get up against the wall. They need money. It's not just money for like expansion or acquisitions. It's people's salaries. Like, you know what I mean? It's like if Applebee's stopped paying their waiters or waitresses, like, like, what are they going to keep coming to work? Are they going to be able to pay their bills? Of course not. It's the same thing. Like, I mean, like, remember, like someone like Sirc, like Dave Massey, he's not like trying to get his own salary paid. The guy's got like, hundreds of people that install solar on people. I mean, you ever crawl up on someone's roof before? I mean, I went up on a roof one time and I almost fell off. So like, seriously, like, I mean, like anyone who's been up on a roof knows that like, it's not just like, you don't just hang out up there. Like it's on an angle, you can fall. It's a nightmare. Okay. So
you know what? I was on my garage roof doing that with a very mild pitch, and I didn't freaking like it.
Well, because it's Buffalo, you gotta have the mild pitch.
Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah. So that way it collapses real good. When you get 6 feet of freaking snow twice in a year. Yeah, yeah. Enjoy Florida, Brett. Yeah.
What? I'm in San Diego now. See, it's still light out. See, what do you mean? It's still light outside.
Yeah, dude, Pacific time, man.
I obviously don't know what sunlight looks like because it's been,
Buffalo.
Oh, the weather up here is miserable. We had a beautiful. We touched. I think it was 78.
What, really?
Week. Yeah, it was beautiful for like a whole week. And then
I'm actually coming to Buffalo a week from today on Wednesday. We should get together for a minute. Yeah,
absolutely. Like absolutely. I say let's do that. Let's grab some wings and a beer.
Definitely.
But I gotta laugh because like sure as shit next year or next week it's like cold, sloppy, 39. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. It's like I'm walking around with like a cut off shirt. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm hanging around the yard. This is great. Let's fire up the grill. It's gonna be awesome. We'll make hot dogs.
Oh, let's fire up the furnace.
Yeah. Now it's like, oh yeah, it's slopping everywhere. It's like, oh, give me a break. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? And then you feel like crap. You're like going to your work. It's like it's not sunny out. You're driving. You're slopping. Your car's like flying everywhere. It's like this is Buffalo weather. I listen. I love my city. Buffalo weather sucks. It sucks because it's night and day. It's up and down. It is the most bipolar region when it comes to weather, but I still love my city, still love my town. Go Bills!
It's like I always say, you ever make snowflakes when you were a kid in school, where you take the piece of paper and you cut them into like things? No one ever understands that's actually what a snowflake looks like in Buffalo, because lake effect snow is so big, you catch it in your palm and it's like the size of a quarter. It's crazy.
We do get some huge flakes sometimes, literally huge flakes. And I'm not gonna lie, like those two storms that we had, completely like crazy cool, like. It was insane, but I know you remember hearing about it, and it was a remarkable experience. Like to get slammed with 5 feet of snow, like the blizzard followed by the snowstorm. That was pretty remarkable.
I left in 06. So remember October of 06? That was the big blizzard. So that was the time when no one had power for 10 days. After 7 days of no power, I was like, you know what? I'm just moving to California.
That was October.
I had like $6,000 to my name. I literally like got in a fucking car and drove to California and moved there. And like, thank God it worked out. But like, I mean, like it was crazy.
I literally like I left my girlfriend's house at the time. Everything iced over, and all the power lines where I was at
fell down on the trees. It was crazy.
Everything. There was no power. That was some wild shit. It really was
the craziest thing that ever happened.
There were icicles, and happened like literally like the ice step forum happening like within the first 24 hours of the storm. These icicles just huge, and you could see it way down on the power lines. Everything's cracked. There's things flying. Nuts. Things are exploding. No, I'm just joking. Things weren't exploding, but you know.
But the icicles, people don't.
It was insane. It was insane.
If you take like a 4 foot long icicicle, that'll go right through you like a knife. I mean, I'm thinking like, seriously.
Yeah, I like when we get a storm. I know we're doing Buffalo talk here, doing a little Buffalo speak. But you know what? It's just funny because, like, you know, we had that storm, and my wife, God love her, but it's funny. Like, we have the icicle, you know, this thick, hanging off the gutter, and we got to take it down. You're going to take down the whole gutter system.
It's going to rip right off.
Just let it melt. Just let the damn thing melt. Get the heat gun. I don't know.
No one has any idea what we're talking about, though. Like, see, Sam hasn't said a word. He's like, "What the hell are you?"
I told Eric I live in rural Michigan, so that.
Oh, okay. Exactly never mind. Okay. Okay. Good. Okay.
Great Lakes guy over here.
Oh yeah. I'm right there with you. We had some ice storms and stuff. It's rough.
You know what? If you're in Michigan, I got a great company for you to look at. If you're in Michigan, you want to go check them out. They're the symbol is RGGI.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about. I didn't know they're in Michigan.
He's in Clinton Township, is where it is.
Clinton.
I just put that guy in the chat, guys. RGGI. I'll be checking it out.
Oh, this is your this is the automated like warehouse.
Yeah, yeah. So he's got this thing. It's basically like the size of like a vacuum cleaner, and it can pull 1 ton through a factory. So he's got people like Stanley Tools, Harley Davidson, basically like testing this thing out in his warehouse right now. He's got his audit done. He's got everything, and they're trying to uplist. I mean, they don't really have any trading volume, which sucks. Like, so I've invested millions in this company and not gotten anything back yet. But I mean, for me, it's like the stock's like $0.015, $0.06, something like that. But I mean, it's
it's sitting at 0.148.
Yeah. So okay, so a penny half. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the CEO is a Caltech grad. He's like a genius. He invented other robotics things that, like, if you look him up, you'll see what they are. Like, I mean, it's his brother just sold a company for like $80 million, like, to someone else. I mean, it's like the company's impressive. And like the thing about this, it's called the Pull Buddy, the thing that can pull the one ton. So it has an app on it, so you could be in Russia and like be controlling it from Michigan. Wow. That's the craziest thing. So like you're talking about, like, remember, like if Amazon has 10 workers, like, you know, like in their warehouse, like getting stuff off the shelves or whatever, there's insurance involved. Like, okay, like if something falls off the shelf and the guy gets a concussion or dies or whatever, like they got to pay him money. That's how that works. If it's a robot, there's no real insurance on it other than like the car insurance kind of stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's no, like, you don't have to insure someone's life when there's no one's life to insure.
And we're at the edge of AI too.
Exactly. You know, so like the whole thing is AI. I mean, it's like it's not just like that it's learning. It's that like you can use it remotely, and like that's what's crazy.
Robotics.
It's kind of like AITX.
Like I was just about to say same
like
thing.
Steve Reinhardt. I mean, that guy's a genius too. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think that guy's brilliantly smart. Like, I mean, like I think that I actually tried to invest millions of dollars with him, but like he didn't want to do a reverse. So I got to give it up to the guy. Like, you know, like I couldn't invest when it was sub penny. So like, you know, I don't invest much in sub penny stocks. So like, you know, it's, you know, I mean, I will say that the guy's a genius. Like Steve Reinhardt, the same exact thing. Like, I mean, he knows what he's doing. He's like,
he's one of those ones where you really, especially a lot of the stuff he's doing, it's like it's good for the world. Like it's making everything safer, right? You know, like
correct.
Fire on detection.
I mean, when I first went to their place in Orange County before they moved, I think they're in Michigan now, but like,
oh yeah.
So like, I mean, when I first went there, I mean, I was like shocked. I mean, he's got like 5 guys in the back, like grinding it out, like assembling all this stuff. I mean, I'm like, wait a minute, this is really what this does? I mean,
Wow.
I mean, at first it seems futuristic. You know what I mean? Like, okay, this is going to keep an eye on this parking lot the whole time. Like, yeah, sure it is. Okay, whatever. And then you see it, and it's legit. It really works.
Yeah, it's crazy. I haven't been able to go to any of the open houses, but he's done a few, and like some of the stuff that they demo, I'm like, whoa. Like, I think really all it's holding them back is just people. It's like old fogies and like security departments.
It's all the old people that are down money that are basically hating on the stock. Is more like, look, I mean, and that's in every OTC stock. Because like, remember, almost every OTC stock that you're like in right now, basically used to be a different company. Okay, so like for example, like years and years and years ago, like there was a company called GTRL. Okay, that was a symbol, GTRL, Get Real Holdings. It was like this multi-level marketing nonsense, like whatever. You know what it used to be before that? It was Hammer Time Holdings, MC Hammer's company.
No way.
I swear to God.
That's crazy.
So when I went to go, when I went to go deposit my first deposit of stock with this thing, they were like, "Well, we're gonna need like a letter from the old CEO." I'm like, the old fucking CEO is MC Hammer. I'm not gonna get the guy to write me a letter that's like, there's no possible way this is gonna happen. Like, you know. So like, I mean, like I said, people need to realize like your OTC company used to be something else, and chances are that company that failed, there's a bunch of angry people. You know what I mean? Like, remember, like there's a bunch of people that lost money, and like, they're gonna throw hate on that stock. I mean, 100%. You know, I mean, that's why like certain people wait like, you know, years for it to go through custodianship or conservatorship or whatever, like, and then they get out of it. But like, I mean, remember, like if you have a stock that has like 3,000 angry shareholders that are like tweeting about stuff and telling you how much they hate you, it's not going to help your new investors, you know, because remember, like people go and they Google the stock, like, you know, they Google, you know, Sam Aker finance and like, oh, well, Sam's a piece of shit. We hate him. Like, you know, not that that's actually a thing. I was just
that happens. Don't worry.
Oh, wait. I'm a part
it
of
happens
Sam,
more to
Sam
me,
Aker
Sam,
hate group,
right? Don't worry. I get my fair share. I'm easy with or I'm quick with the ban hammer on Twitter or whatever, the block hammer on Twitter.
Oh my God.
Well, you know what? But the thing is though too, like even like in Ilis, like that first, like there was a pump to 18, then back down, then to 50. I think I have full conviction in the stock and the company, most importantly. But like, think about it though. Like, you got to put yourself in the mindset of people that are on the rise when you're riding it up for months and months. They're like, you know what? Fine, the DD does check out, and then boom, we hit a recession. We hit many things. There's lots of sellers. You're faced with economic uncertainty, global strife, whatever you want to call it. And so, you know what? I don't blame people for like, you know, when they're down 80%, be like, screw this. This sucks. And it's a scam, even though, like, you know, that's such a generic term, like we were talking about earlier. And it's not, it sucks, you know. And so I do empathize with people that have bought in, you know, at a high level. Do I think, you know, like, have I bought in at a bad point in a stock? Of course. I think anybody that's traded has done it. But yeah, so I do, like I said, I do empathize with those people. But I think that's one thing that I like about like keeping up with DD and keeping in contact with people that are running the company and finding a company that in which they do they are transparent, in which they do
communicating with their shareholders.
Yes, that's so important.
Like, you know? ILUS, like, I mean, most companies don't even have that shareholder meeting, let alone like let you talk to the CEO. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I saw you there. I mean, you know how it is. I mean, like, you got to sit there, ask questions. I mean, like,
I had a front row seat.
That's exactly. You did have a front row seat. I was in the back. You know, Eric got there way before me, I guess.
It was a good time. It was a good time. I can't wait till the next one. I will be at the next one. Absolutely. But no, I think that's the kind of atmosphere, you know, like that, like we were talking about earlier, is building a community that really does their homework and holds companies accountable, and just creates a better atmosphere for trading. And I don't want to say more safe, because everything that we do is risky. You know, that's just it. And like,
but transparency makes safety. Like, in all seriousness,
it does.
Like, look, if these companies would tell the truth, like, I mean, like, you would be able to make a more informed decision in real time. Like, you know, and that's the bottom line. Like, you know. And
you know what, we do understand that there is high volatility, and the beautiful thing about the OTC is if you do play charts, there's your chart trader, there's your long term, there's your medium hold trade, like there's all these different things. The beautiful thing about the OTC is if you do have the right buy-in, there is high volatility, there is high volume,
And you can
so it
make
does
your own
create
money.
opportunity to make more than 20%. You know what I mean? To make those 100%, like with IGPK, I went in, I said around this channel that I was going to flip it and hold $1 million. I made 100%, took my profit, and I got millions of shares of other companies that I think are going to run later. So
with your profits,
with my profits and my initial investments.
See, that's the thing. You have to take your profits and
that's just an example. I'm not bashing IGPK by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm learning now to like double what I want for the long term to hold. And it's nice to build up a portfolio just to sit and look and say, all right, now I got in at the bottom. I've looked at so many plays where I've waited years, literally years to get in and say, I'm just waiting and waiting and waiting. Especially when you focus on and you listen to things that are happening in the economy in general, and the influx of money going into the market and going into OTCM, it has definitely dipped off. But
it's dipped off a lot, and there's definitely factors why it's dipped off. And look, I'm not gonna like blame everything on this, but like there's certain stocks and like look, OPTI was one of them, and I was involved in it. I mean, it sucks, but like the other one was Humble. Like I mean, like, and I know I brought it up before, but like. That was a stock that went to 92 cents and then did a 4-to-1 reverse. And then now is 00, whatever the hell it is right now. That means that 99% of the value is lost. You're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars of liquidity that evaporated from the OTC markets. That's a huge thing. I mean, remember, like the OTC markets is skewed. If you look at the volume every day, remember there's stocks like Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. There's stocks like Nintendo is a pink sheet stock. Okay. Like, I mean, like those stocks trade millions and millions and millions of dollars a day, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, you know what I mean? That stuff adds up. And then it makes it seem like the OTC markets is trading hundreds of millions of dollars a day. But in reality, it's a few stocks trading a lot. And then there's like the rest of us trading like $61,000 a day. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's a totally different game.
Yeah. And we know going into this that the OTC is the Wild West of the trading world. And high risk, high reward, and that's it. So listen, we've been at this almost 2 hours. I want to give final thoughts.
Hey, I'm impressed.
Hey, Brett, I got a funny one. I'll answer one, and then as we end here, I think this will be a good end note. What is the funniest or like craziest thing you've seen from a OTC company, like in terms of like something they said they were doing, or like some scheme or like business plan, or just some weird thing you've seen like in a filing or something, if you can pick one? Because I've seen some crazy funny stuff.
I actually have a great story for you then. Okay, so the company right now is on the NASDAQ. I took them public on the OTC markets in April of 2018. It was the company was GRBX at the time. Right now, their symbol is RVYL or RYVL. I can't remember. It's Rival, whatever it is, okay? So this company had this lawyer that was basically like, you know how sometimes lawyers like basically throw cold water on anything. They think it's like the worst deal in the world. Like, you don't do it. It's terrible, okay? So I was like, hey, look, we're going to give you this amount of money, but you have to fire your lawyer, okay? And I'm like, okay. And they're like, okay, no problem. Yeah. So what happened was this: we originally invested, and the next quarterly, the 10Q comes out, and he marks them as shell, which basically ruins my entire investment. I can't invest in shell companies. So like, I mean, it's like it ruins everything. Okay, like, it was so bad. Okay.
Oh
wow.
So I'm like, you got to fire this guy. Okay, whatever. They're like, yeah, no problem. We're done. Okay. They say they fired him. We wired the money to him. Blah blah blah. I walk into the office, me and Deborah, like 3 weeks later, and like, there's the lawyer, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, why is this lawyer? They're like, I thought you were gonna fire him. They go, they're Israeli, so they go, we thought you said filed. I go, what do you mean you filed him? You put him in the filing cabinet? What are you talking about? Like, you said filed, not fired. You said filed. And they like literally wouldn't let this lie die. They were like, it's on. We're keeping this up. Like, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I go, I mean, I literally couldn't believe it. And the funny thing is now they're on the NASDAQ. So, there's the real world for you,
Oh, man.
If it makes you feel any better, it looks like they're about to be delisted. So
they are about to be delisted.
Well,
thank you, Sam. I
Damn,
love you.
Sam is on it.
They are about to be delisted 100%.
That's full circle right there.
That's full circle. And it's crazy because they went up to like $12.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a funny way to end, because I know that I see some crazy stuff, and I'm not even like as much of an insider as you, so I figured you had some
oh
good
yeah
stories.
And hey, next show I'll give another crazy story, I promise.
Well, I am hoping to have you guys on in a couple weeks and touch base. I think this was good. I think people enjoyed it, and there's a lot to look forward to in the next couple months, especially if you're an Ilis shareholder, Sirc, CYBL, CGRA. There are so many things going on in the OTC, and I think we're finding a lot of diamonds in the rough. And no, like I said, this is not financial advice, but I think I have strong conviction in these companies. So, Sam, thank you for joining us. Brett, thank you for joining us. And we're going to do this again in a couple weeks.
No, thanks, Eric.
Thanks for having me.
And thanks, Sam. Awesome, man. Thanks for everything you do. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, much appreciated. Thanks.
Right.
You guys
have a good night, guys.
Have a wonderful night.
See you guys.
All right, guys, that is it. I'm kaput. We've been at it 2 hours. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Remember, there is more that binds us than breaks us. And that's all we got. Have a good night.